with an address of 1727 State Route 12B in the Village and Town of Hamilton, Madison County, New York, together with approximately 3,500 square foot building located thereon, and 2, the renovation of the existing facility and the construction on that land of approximately 10,500 square foot building, and 3, the acquisition and installation therein and thereon of certain machinery and equipment, all of the foregoing consisting to constitute a brewery, to include a warehouse, office space, lab, retail, and event space, and other directly or indirectly related activities. And B, the granting of certain financial assistance with respect to the foregoing, including potential exemptions from certain sales and use taxes, real property transfer taxes, and mortgage recording taxes. And C, the lease of the project facility to the prior company pursuant to the terms of the lease agreement. On or about July of 2024, DC Ranger LLC, Delaware Limited Liability Company, submitted an application to the agency, a copy of which application is on file at the office of the agency. We've got copies here too. Which application requesting that the agency consider a request by the new company for approval by the agency for a certain assignment and assumption related to the project. Said assignment request consisting of the approval by the agency of the assignment by the prior company to the new company of the lease agreement, the payment in lieu of tax agreement, and certain other documents entered into by the prior company in connection with the closing, and the assumption by the new company of the basic documents. I intend to provide general information on the agency's general authority and public purpose to provide assistance to this assignment request. I will then open the comment period to receive comments from all present who wish to comment on either the assignment request or the financial assistance contemplated by the agency with respect to the assignment request. The provisions of chapters 1030 of the laws of 1969 of New York, constituting Title I of Article 18A of the General Municipal Law, Chapter 24 of the Consolidated Laws of New York as amended, Chapter 305 of the 1975 Laws of New York as amended, constituting Section 893 of said General Municipal Law, authorize the agency to promote, develop, encourage, and assist in the acquiring, constructing, reconstructing, improving, maintaining, and equipping and furnishing of manufacturing, warehouse, research, commercial, and industrial facilities, among others. Pursuant to Section 859A2 of the General Municipal Law of the State of New York, prior to the agency providing any financial assistance of more than $100,000 to any project, the agency, among other things, must hold a public hearing pursuant to Section 859A of the Act with respect to said project. Since the proposed financial assistance to be provided by the agency with respect to the assignment request may exceed $100,000, then prior to providing any financial assistance of more than $100,000 to the assignment request, the agency must hold a public hearing on the nature and location of the project facility and the proposed financial assistance to be provided by the agency with respect to the assignment request. After consideration of the application received from the new company, the members of the agency adopted a resolution on July 18, 2024, authorizing the agency to conduct this public hearing with respect to the assignment request pursuant to Section 859A2 of the Act. By way of background, notice of the public hearing was published on August 18, 2024 in the Oneida Daily Dispatch, a newspaper of general circulation available to the residents of the Village and Town of Hamilton, Madison County, New York. In addition, as requested by New York law, the notice of this public hearing was mailed on August 16, 2024 to the supervisor of the Town of Hamilton, the mayor of the Village of Hamilton, the chairman of the County Board of Supervisors of Madison County, the superintendent, the Board of Education president, and district clerk of the Hamilton Central School District. Lastly, copies of the public hearing notice were posted on August 16, 2024 on a public bulletin board located at the town offices here at 38 Milford Street in the Village and Town of Hamilton, Madison County, New York, and were posted on August 16, 2024 on the agency's website. A copy of the certified resolution authorizing a public hearing in connection with the assignment and assumption was mailed to the affected taxing entities on August 16, 2024. Copies of the notice of the public hearing are available on the website of the agency. Now, unless there is any objection, I'm going to suggest waiving the full reading of the notice of the public hearing and instead request the full text of the notice of the public hearing be inserted into the record of this public hearing. The comments received today at this public hearing will be presented to the members of the agency at or prior to the meeting at which the members of the agency will consider whether to approve the undertaking of the assignment request by the agency and the granting by the agency of any financial assistance in excess of $100,000 with respect to the assignment request. Notice of the public hearing indicated the written comments could be addressed to Kip Hicks, Executive Director of the agency. We've received one written comment prior to the public hearing, which will be included in the public record. I will now open the public hearing at 10:13 a.m. If there's anyone who would like to speak for
Can you
or
read
against?
the public comment that came to you?
Sure can,
Just
and
so
will.
we have a sense.
From Evans Adrian, who is the former employee of Good Nature Brewing Company. I might have to read it from my email. Thought I brought a copy, but I must not
Did it
have.
get mixed up?
Thank you, I don't think it's on there. Just behind property taxes. Evans Adrian, good morning, Kip. I wanted to send an email this morning in full support of accepting an extension to the terms of the pilot program for Good Nature Brewing. This property and business is an integral part of my community now, and I would love to see this success for years to come. Hoping this message finds you well. Let's keep in touch regarding my upcoming projects. Evans Adrian. Pacific Peak Capital Partners.
You know, the village attorney reviewed everything, all the materials you sent. Thank you for that, along with the ones from Cazenovia, you know, outlining what happened there with their brewery. And from his perspective, and it would be the village's perspective, in reviewing their amendment to their pilot, that if it's a similar amendment for the brewery, that we would support it. We would like to see the business succeed. So as long, we don't want to start fresh, we don't want to have an extension, but if it's just a continuation of what was already approved, we would support that. But then I want to say on the other
Go right ahead, please.
the other end, that with discussions that we have had, when this originally was developed, it was really considered a real business with the brewery, with employees. You know, it seemed to be much more complicated, in a good way, extensive in terms of the business. I don't know what their plan is in terms of an active brewery and how that is indeed going to be extended. But just as an aside, we normally would not give a pilot to a restaurant. So, you know, I don't know how all of that is reshaped, but according to, you know, what we've reviewed, as long as there's no extension, we will support it. But those are my personal concerns.
According to the application that was submitted to us from DCC Ranger, they did purchase the property for approximately $3.7 million. In my speaking with Evans Adrian when he was an employee there were extensive renovations underway in the restaurant with hopes of opening it. In a letter that we received from the principals along with their application, indicates that their anticipated 2-month renovation turned into a 6-month renovation. They've got a total of 15 employees at the moment that they've been keeping on. They expect those numbers to double once they are operational. And I can tell you that our board, in consideration of the original application from Good Nature, Good Nature was I think they received the first farm brewery license from New York State, which was modified to make it easier for this industry to get started. It was by a couple of, you know, young entrepreneurs, and it was the manufacturing aspect that was of most interest to us. But obviously the sales tax benefit. When Good Nature came to us, they received our mortgage recording tax benefit, sales tax abatement, and the pilot. Obviously, the pilot is the most lucrative portion. The largest tax abatement was a 15-year benefit, of which Good Nature had been through 7 years. So we are looking at another 8 years remaining. Our enhanced benefit for value-added agriculture and manufacturing is a 15-year pilot. The first 5 years is a 75% break. The
Right.
second 5 years, the years 6 through 10 would be a 50% break and a 25% break for the remaining.
Right.
I can tell you that their application came in very close to the Empire Brewing Company's application to our agency. At that time, the governor had a Startup New York benefit encouraging this industry or companies that are going to work in conjunction with a local college to help develop the future workforce to offer a 100% 10-year property tax abatement. They pushed for it in our agency in hearing, the community as a whole was in favor of that project, and they went forward with the 10-year 100% tax break. Carrie and Matt at the time said, no, we understand that that's an option that's potentially on the table for us. We want to be able to help the community also and have them grow with us, and that if we could pursue the uniform tax exemption policy that you have for value-added agriculture, a 15-year pilot, that's what we would like. And DCC Ranger is simply looking for a continuation of that. And I don't doubt that there is a lot of truth to the fact that their cost overruns for their renovations and their lack of being in business has severely hurt the company and probably their ability to, stay in the black or be profitable or not lose as much money. So that's the request that's come before us. But thank you for your comment. I can say that I did talk extensively with Evan Schwartz the other day. I did talk with Jim Cunningham as the chairman of the Board of Supervisors. He was very much in favor of continuing, and he is okay with an assumption of the pilot benefit. And Matt Crum, also from the school district, said they've already budgeted for in anticipation of the continuation of the pilot. So just full disclosure.
Thank you. Thanks for that explanation.
Sure. Maybe a little long-winded, but
It's okay. Rather too much than too little.
So for Myers Creek, the IDA did something a little different, right? They changed the actual.
yeah, Myers Creek.
They had a 10-year. They had a 10-year with some, laid out, but we changed it to 5 years, 50% for the first year, and then 10%.
10%. Yep, reduction.
So when you had mentioned looking at Myers Creek, plus
Is that
this
the one on Rippleton Road?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. You were saying that the village wants to continue with the current one, not to mirror Myers Creek. I was just a little confused to make sure that.
Well, what Jim had said to me is that he reviewed the one, he said the Rippleton Road
Yeah,
Brewery
yeah.
and Kaz, and that if our amendment was similar to that, there would be no issue.
That's
And
what I thought you said,
but what
yeah.
he meant, but in talking with him, we talked about the continuation of the pilot
Yeah.
and not adding, not starting fresh. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way we're gonna say from
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now it's 15 years or whatever.
Yeah.
It's continuing where they are and
Just an
concluding at the
assumption,
original.
continuing to
Right,
run
right,
Yeah.
right.
parallel.
Yeah. I'm not sure which one's actually the best for,
Yeah,
in terms of final numbers, which one is creates the biggest benefit, but I just wanted to make sure that.
yeah.
we're
I will
talking-
do those calculations so that I have that for the board to consider
Yeah.
at our September meeting.
I feel like you did it at the last meeting.
I did. I think we were kind of back of the napkin.
Yeah,
We were
yeah.
looking at the numbers because I think the initial comment from Liz at the meeting was it's probably
Similar.
very similar in the actual breaks, but I think the continuation of the 15-year would be a bigger benefit to the company.
Just for information, do you have information on the current owners? Like, I know nothing about them. I don't know where they're based. I have no idea
Is this
what the
DC
connection might
DC
be.
Ranger?
Yeah,
DCC Ranger.
Something like Colorado, aren't they?
are
This-
they Colorado?
This is a project summary that I put
Okay,
together
thank
for
you.
our board.
Okay, this is good.
They're a private equity
Yeah.
firm, and they specialize in distressed property and operations and they're, you know, they pride themselves in being able to turn around companies that are undervalued or underperforming.
Okay, thank you.
Do they flip them shortly thereafter?
I don't know what their history is. Many times there are, you know, investment groups where they have a 5-year horizon. They have a, you know, a tranche of money that they invest in a group of companies. I am under the impression that this project is a little bit outside of their realm. I don't think operating a brewery and restaurant is anything that they've done. I'm not under the impression that they have a lot of experience doing this.
Or a test pilot?
Yeah.
For future projects, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I haven't heard good things about it lately.
Oh.
Mm-mm. So I haven't been there since the 4th, but I've only talked to 2 people who've been there and they were not happy.
When I spoke with the previous operator, or the general manager, which that's the email I got from
Right,
Evans
from
Avery,
Evans.
his comment was they would very much like to look at the opportunity to host weddings and to do more catering in other, just take the business in a little bit different direction that could help them with profitability and, you know, long-term
right.
sustainability.
You wonder if that's because of his experience or whether or not. I talked to someone as well who knows somebody about brewing, and he says they didn't know anything about brewing. But they do know restaurants and catering and so on, and so you wonder if the manager was taking that direction because that was his experience and not the brewing aspect, which was, they have all this top of the line equipment.
And that was the impetus to the
Yeah,
original pilot, was the
yeah.
fact that it was a brewery.
Yeah. I mean, we want it to succeed.
Right.
However, I mean,
Right.
in both ways, or at least.
I feel
one,
caught in the
but,
middle here.
Yeah, yeah. Even as a restaurant, and
Right.
we don't want it to fail, obviously.
Would you guys like to add anything?
Have they talked about continuing the brewing factor of it? I mean, what are they?
Well,
where
their
are they
intentions
with
are
that?
to continue to operate it as
Okay.
a microbrewery. Yeah,
Okay.
that's their
Okay, yeah.
intentions, to continue over and to have a similar economic impact as the original Good Nature.
Are they continuing under the Good Nature name and with the same type of product, same recipes? I mean, I know, you know, I have friends that drink Good Nature and like Good Nature, but I don't know, you know,
I
going
heard that.
forward.
The guy who told me, talked to me about it, said they were down to 2 beers.
And adding a third.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm under the impression a little bit of rebranding or the image of what Good Nature is. I think it just says good on the can. So what the original was the brown and the blonde. So they still have those two, and I think they were playing on that good sport, and they were going to bring out a third beer and kind of specialize in, at least under the old management, as it was explained to me, those would be their 3 beers that they would be offering, and that they would be expanding the number of taps at the brewing company, offering other breweries and ciders and products that are made in New York State or regionally.
So I'm assuming the IDA is supporting this.
The IDA has been back and forth even on holding this public hearing.
Interesting.
Just the discussion at the board level kind of went back and forth. I thought it was a healthy discussion, but generally speaking, when we get an application, our board usually doesn't have a problem with holding a public hearing. Hear what people have to say about it before they, you know, weigh in and make any decisions. So to say that our board is looking at this favorably, I think it was kind of half and half. Let's hear what the public has to say. The fact that the county seems that the comment from Jim Cunningham was he finds the request to be reasonable, that the school district doesn't have an objection to it. I know that the town wanted more information, and you know we provided what we have. And again, we will take all of those comments back to the board for for them to ultimately make a decision at our meeting the third Thursday of September. I think it's the 19th.
A lot of it had to do with, same as Myers Creek, sort of after the fact,
Mhm.
you know. Why didn't they come in at the outset and say that they were gonna do this and they wouldn't be able to complete the project without it, and then, and that was the same thing with Myers Creek, you know. They completed the deal and then they come back and say, oh, by the way, we want this
We
too.
need this, yeah.
Yeah, and that same thing here, the deal's completed, oh, by the way, we want this. And so that was sort of the discussion, that was the discussion.
And both of those projects, or both of the projects were unconventional in that they were, you know, suffering and kind of selling. It wasn't a fire sale, but it wasn't as public as the
Right.
Burt Marshall auction, for example.
Right.
Well, what I have to add isn't so much about the big picture stuff. I mean, I'm part of a group of people that support and go there all the time.
Mhm.
They're there every week. And there's some real concerns. They're just kind of put off by some of the changes, you know, the changes inside, and it hasn't been as consistent. So it's obviously they're trying to get their feet under them. So to hear their explanation that their specialties may be a little bit elsewhere, but they are struggling. We don't want them. We want them to succeed.
Right.
But there's some frustration just with the remarketing, like real. So from our grass, you know, on the ground perspective is they're making some key mistakes. We feel just really rebranding, but then trying to keep claim to all that's been developed there by Carrie and Matt and the brewery and the awards they've won. And there's just some rumblings and some people aren't feeling as good about it, which is too bad because again, they do want them to succeed because they love their beer.
Mm-hmm.
When the food is on, it's great. The staff, they know the staff, they're great staff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we want them to succeed, but they're moving fast
Yeah.
on some things.
I don't doubt that there's a lot of change
Mhm.
afoot, and the construction, I think they were trying to accommodate Colgate University sports teams. People like, so there's a restaurant and a microbrewery after a hockey game, let's bring the team over here and get a bite to eat, and the seating was too small.
Yeah.
So they've gone out of their way to have tables where they can seat 12 people or two
Yeah.
large booths side by side that can accommodate
Yeah.
the full basketball team, for example.
Personally, I think it looks very nice and I like the changes because those seats previous were not very comfortable. And again, I'm just speaking on like, you know, I'm just being real
Not about the
here.
financial assistance, but the consistency of the
Yeah,
experience and product.
But, you know, just, I just hope they get their feet under them.
Are you a bicyclist?
My husband is one of them,
So,
so he bikes every
you
week.
said every week, that's why.
Yeah, they're there every week and I get there when I can. And they let dogs there, so I'm all about that. So, yeah, I mean, I just would have nice to see the Good Nature Brewery logo and everything stay the same. I kind of felt like that was an identity for Hamilton. It came out of here, it was birthed here.
Mhm.
And I kind of feel like they lost that. And I don't know why they tried to change it so much. That's unfortunate. Again, it's not really having to do with the pilot. That's why I said it's kind of,
But your comments are appreciated, and we'll note those for the board.
It is interesting because their new sign, and I even forget how it is, it appears a bit weird, so it catches people's attention, and
Yeah,
it's like,
it's
what?
different.
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
the social house feature.
yeah, that's it.
All right, well, thank you very
Okay.
much. If there are no further comments, I'll conclude this public hearing at 10:31 a.m. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you.